For self-defense, you must train yourself to keep attacking. In an actual situation, you must keep attacking until the threat has been stopped. Regardless of what tool you're using or what physical techniques you're using, we need to keep attacking until the threat is stopped. When you're doing a radio interview, I've done a lot of those on active shooter response and safety. When everyone quits talking and you have dead air, just silence, that's a bad thing on radio. When you just stop and you're not doing anything in a self-defense situation, that can be bad as well. You must be on the attack. You must keep at it until the threat is stopped. That's what we're going to talk about today on Coffee with Alain. I'm here with my Reflex Protect cup and a Reflex Protect shirt because as soon as we're done with this Coffee with Alain, I'm switching gears and going to be doing some training for Reflex Protect. And in that training, even though it's on the defensive spray, here's an inert that I have sitting here, we teach to continuously spray until the threat is stopped. Same principle, whether you're using a defensive spray, whether you're using your physical hand-to-hand techniques, whether you're using a different tool to help you. You go until the threat is stopped. Often teaching Hapkido, we have a plethora of joint locks and different throws and so forth. Great training, fun to do, but they won't always work on every person. I've written for Black Belt Magazine on the keys to joint lock success. And you need to have some speed, you need to have some accuracy of technique, and you have to have some surprise. If the person knows what you're doing, they can sometimes defeat the lock. And they'll defeat it before you actually get it locked in. And when that happens, you need to transition to a different technique. And that's often why we do lock flow drills in training. It's not that in a real situation, you're going to put a lock and a lock and a lock and a lock and make this guy dance around with all these different joint locks. It's to develop the ability to feel how you can go from one to another. So if one is not working, we flow into a different lock that will often then work. So we need to stay on the attack continuously. You punch a guy with everything you have and it doesn't stop him. You can't just sit there and go, uh-oh, he's going to hit you back, right? You need to keep pursuing it and do whatever you can. Switch tactics, switch techniques for the ultimate goal of stopping the threat so you can then get to safety. Depending on what you're doing, where you're at, who the encounter with, you're going to play into that. If you're a law enforcement or security and it's your job to restrain that person, great. You're going to have to use techniques to do that, but you continue until the threat is stopped and you have him restrained. If you're a civilian and all the goal is to get home safe, you do whatever technique it takes to stop the threat long enough that you can escape to safety and get home safe. You have different goals there. One, you're getting home. Law enforcement, you're getting home too, but you got to take that guy in first. So that's why we have different tools. We have different techniques because they won't always work the first time or the way we want them to. So we must continually attack until the threat is stopped. If you let up, you're giving the opponent an opportunity to then hurt you. And we never want to give them an opportunity. The second we go on offensive, we want to stay offensive until the threat is done and we are safe. It's much better to be on the offense than on the defense and trying to protect yourself from getting hurt. Because we do need to learn defense and we need to protect ourselves from being hurt. But just protecting ourselves and stopping ourselves from being hurt is not stopping the threat. So we must somehow transition from defense to offense and then stay on offense until it's over. And we do that with our physical hands. We do that with tools like Reflex Protect. It might be a combination of them. You're surprised, you hit, then you start spraying. The guy ducks his head and you sprayed the top of his head and it didn't affect his eyes as he's charging. You smash him with the can and then you spray him again. But you just keep offensively doing something, whether it's a strike, a spray, a push. Keep him on the defensive. You stay on the offensive till the threat is stopped. Make sense? It's a short lesson today because, again, I got to hop off here and then get ready and teach a class for Reflex Protect. But I wanted to share a little self-defense principle that is an important principle and one that you should train for so you can actually apply it if you ever have to. I hope you never have to. I hope your awareness and your avoidance keep you safe without having to go physical. Want to know more about that? Go to enjoylifesafely.com, sign up for the newsletter that will be starting up in July, and get your free guide to situational awareness. Get the videos on situational awareness to help you stay safe and avoid having to go on the offensive to keep yourself safe. Before I leave, I want to say good morning to Dixon. Dixon says, unless binding someone, example handcuffs, a restraint via joint lock won't last all too long. Got to constantly switch them up, even if pausing between locks. And that's true. Joint locks are not the be-all and end-all, even though I love them and have done a number of videos on them. You can check out the different videos at enjoylifesafely.com. Another plug, right? But they have their purpose. But then you do transition to something else. And usually you want to then transition, if you're restraining someone, into handcuffs or, confinement, something like that. You're not going to have the joint lock on forever. Okay? But we're going to keep attacking until the threat is stopped. That's the important thing to remember today. Practice it in your training so you can apply it if you ever have to. And I hope you don't have to. Until tomorrow, take care, stay safe, have a marvelous Monday.